Let's face it, we all have negative thoughts, whether it is the I can't do this, I'm not good enough, why would that happen to me? You can probably think of the last negative thought you had, and I would hope it wasn't today, but I know for me, my negative thoughts happen more than I would like, which is why I have been addressing them, to work on them, to reframe them, and to overcome my negative thoughts. As I'm telling you this, I'm also telling myself that we do not need to let negative thoughts control us or dictate our life. It's more than frustrating to hear those negative thoughts start to control you, to change how you handle things, to change how you approach life, and most importantly, how you believe in yourself. So today, we are going to reframe negative thoughts. We are going to take the control back and start believing in ourselves and start believing in the positive things. Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel. I'm Ofori-Attah, and I'm so glad you're here because we are doing some good work today. If you're new, you may not know, but I love to chat about different things that are motivational, things that I'm working on, that I'm overcoming, or that I'm still really in the midst of, which is why I am talking about negative thoughts and reframing negative thoughts today. I have dealt with a very critical inner monologue majority of my life, which maybe you can relate to. Thoughts that tell me I'm not good enough, why this would happen to me, that I can't this, I can't that, with no real reason other than self-doubt. And so this is something I've had to work on and something that I'm continuously working on, which is why I want to bring it to the table today and remind you that you do not have to let your negative thoughts control you, and remind myself the exact same thing. So what do I mean by reframing negative thoughts? Simply put, it is by changing and interpreting those thoughts into something positive. Rather than focusing on the negative of I can't, I won't, all those negative things, we are going to shift our perspective to look at the positive and to see the other side of the coin, because like everything, there is always one side and another side. So it's what we look at, what we give our energy to is what is going to happen in real life. And if we're giving our energy to more positive thoughts, positive actions, and positive beliefs, more positive things are going to happen. And I know this sounds a little cheesy, or it also sounds impossible because it feels like you're climbing a mountain. Maybe you are going through a hard time in life, you are looking for a new job, you just moved out, or you just got out of a relationship. Whatever it may be that is giving you this sort of hopelessness, in all honesty, or negativity of you can't overcome what you're facing. I know the cheesiness really feels deep, but I promise you, these small steps that I'm going to go through will start to make a difference as soon as today, as long as you do the work and you implement them. But you will start to see these small changes add up and make a change in your day-to-day life. Okay, let's make this as digestible as possible. So step one, awareness is key. Can you recognize your negative thoughts? I know I've given examples of things that I have thought about, like I can't. I think that is my biggest negative thought is I can't this, I can't that, and so on and so forth. And the more I say it, the more I start to believe it, which is not what we want to do. So when you're thinking about your negative thoughts, I want you to look at your thought patterns, that inner monologue that you have with yourself, and ask yourself, what are these negative things that you say over and over again about yourself? Whether you believe them or not, just identify what these negative thoughts are, to have awareness for where they're coming from, maybe what area in your life they are about, so that we can actually address them and reframe them. When you start paying attention to those negative thoughts that pop up throughout the day, you can start to ask yourself something. When you recognize that negative thought has come, ask yourself, why do I believe this? Why do I think that's true? Why do I think I cannot do that? Take a moment and ask yourself, why do I believe this? Is this thought based on facts, or is it just your mind playing tricks on you? Is it operating out of fear, out of embarrassment, out of some sort of self-protection, or is this based in truth? And I promise you, 9 times out of 10, it is not based in truth. It is a thought pattern that you've created, that you have stuck with, that you are now in the midst of, staying in that negative place, out of no basis of reality. The biggest thing is awareness, and sometimes just recognizing these thoughts can actually start to diminish and take away the power from these negative thoughts. When you're unaware of what's happening, your mind and your body is going to respond to that and start to build on it. So the more negative thoughts you have, the more negative you feel, the more negative you act in life, the more negative you think about other people, and it becomes this spiral. So the first step to breaking that cycle is awareness, recognizing these negative thoughts and starting to take the power back from negativity to reframe it and put it into positivity. The next step is to challenge the thought. So similar to asking yourself, is this based on truth or is this something that your mind is playing a trick on you? You want to ask yourself, what is the evidence for this thought? So let's say you have a deadline for an essay in school and you are telling yourself, I'm never going to get this done in time. I want you to actually slow down and ask yourself, why do I believe that? What is the evidence for and against this thought? What past experiences can I look at to prove that I can actually get things done on time? So if your mind is playing a trick on you, which usually it is, especially when you're in this negative headspace, you want to look back at times you proved that negative thought wrong. Look back at the times that you handed in your other essays on time, or you wrote an exam and you aced it when you didn't think you would. Look at things that you have accomplished, that you have done, that prove that this thought is a negative thought and it is not the truth. This is where you want to start using positive mindset and positive thoughts. So you want to look back at those previous experiences and recognize that you have done those things, you have accomplished and you have done it afraid, you have persevered, you have pushed through, and you have arrived at succeeding. So you want to be able to tell yourself, I have done this before and I will do it again. Then look at how you can start to implement what you learned from a previous experience to help yourself in this situation. So if it's that essay, maybe you recognize you work better a little bit at a time. So breaking down what's left into the next 5 days, digestible work blocks each day to accomplish that task. Or if you're a little bit like me, I work best under pressure. So recognizing, okay, I feel the pressure of only having 5 days. How can I use that type of energy and pressure to make sure that I'm getting things done and I'm proving to myself that I can get this done on time? Find these moments from your past that have proven you can do it to remind yourself that you have done it before and you will do it again. Now, this is where the real work comes in. We want to reframe that negative thought with a positive thought. It's sort of like writing a pros and cons list. It's so easy to look at the cons, the negative, to see all the wrong things in life. But it takes just as much work and energy to see the positive, but once you start seeing the positive and writing out that pros list, you will start believing it. So let's say for this essay, you feel like you don't have enough time to get it done and there's no way you're going to finish it and hand it in on time. Let's look at what you can reframe that thought to is, yes, this may be challenging. I know time is very tight, but I will get this done no matter what, in the short amount of time, under pressure, but I will persevere. I am determined to succeed and I will hand it in on time. Sometimes adding even more empowering words like perseverance, discipline, determination, those things will almost like spark a reaction in you to start to kind of step up to those words and start to fill in those words, use those as motivation and energy to accomplish what you're doing. Other times you need to be short and sweet with your positivity and just say, I know this is going to be hard, but I can do it. This is where learning more about yourself, how you respond to pressure, how you respond to negativity, how you can quickly turn that into a positive thought, reframe it, and empower and encourage yourself to overcome the obstacle. The reality is, with negative thoughts, with anything hard in life, no one is coming to save you. You are the person you need to rely on. So finding what works best for you, whether that is talking to yourself in third person, truly writing out a pros and cons list, having sticky notes around your home that remind you that you can do it, whatever it may be, is identifying what works for you and leaning on that so that you can overcome these negative thoughts. The big thing about reframing negative thoughts is remembering that this isn't ignoring them. I don't want you to just ignore these negative thoughts because they are there for a reason. They will actually inspire you to overcome obstacles. And then you can look back at yourself and see what you had to overcome, not only the negative thought, but maybe that time crunch, the pressure you felt in real life, and you can recognize that you did do hard things. By recognizing and having the awareness for these negative thoughts and then reframing them is about shifting your mindset from helplessness to action. It really is about empowering yourself rather than allowing those negative thoughts to control you and dictate how you operate, who you are, and what you can and cannot do. Negative thoughts are part of the human experience. I'm not going to sugarcoat it. No matter how much work I put into overcoming and reframing my negative thoughts, they still are there. But like I said, they can be used as tools, as markers in the road, as a recognition of what you've overcome, how you've pushed through, you've persevered, and you've proven to yourself that you can do what you set out to do. Lastly, and the most important thing, is having self-compassion. Like I've talked about before, it's not about perfection. We are not aiming for perfection because that is unrealistic, but we are aiming for progression. So by having the awareness for these thoughts, by starting to ask yourself where they're coming from, where this belief has started, reframing them into something positive, you are already showing up for yourself, and you need to show yourself grace, compassion, and love while you're navigating this. You don't have to eliminate every negative thought. Like I said, sometimes they are there to remind us to start to work on that muscle of determination and perseverance to get back on track and to start believing in ourselves again. Understanding where these negative thoughts come from is so important, whether it is a level of self-protection, fear of failure, or this striving for perfection. A lot of times we can fall into a negative headspace when things aren't going our way. But as we all know, and you're here for a reason, life doesn't always go our way. So it really is about how can we work on our mindset? How can we recognize these thoughts, shift them, reframe them, and start to believe in the positive and start to see the positive in our life, to recognize that we can do these things and we will continue to face hardships and obstacles along the way. So when you mess up, when you fall into a negative thought pattern again, maybe you find a couple days, a week, even a month where you are stuck in this negative headspace, recognize that that's okay. You're going to pick yourself up, you're going to get moving again, and you're going to start small. One thought at a time, being aware, recognizing that these thoughts are not serving you. And I think that's the simplest thing to do when you are trying to figure out how to get some action going in your life towards positivity, is recognize no matter how many negative thoughts you've had, not one single one of them has benefited you. So we are going to reframe those negative thoughts. We are going to get back on track and remind ourselves that we can do hard things because we have in the past and we will again. And when in doubt, treat yourself the way you would treat a friend. If a friend came to you with negativity and lack of belief in themselves, not thinking they can accomplish anything, I highly doubt you would speak to them the way that you speak to yourself internally. You wouldn't tell them that, you're right, you're not going to do it, you're not going to accomplish. You would speak to them positively. You would breathe life into them and encourage them and remind them that they've overcome something before. They can overcome this. And you remind them that they're not alone and that it's one step at a time. So sometimes speaking to yourself, even in third person like I tend to do, can really benefit you and remind you the way to love yourself the way that you love others. So if you're ready to tackle those negative thoughts today, it really is as simple as recognizing and finding awareness for these negative thoughts, challenging these thoughts by asking them if they are true and where that is coming from, so you can understand where this negativity is coming from, whether it's out of self-preservation or out of fear. And then reframe that into something powerful and actionable. So looking at a pros and cons, sort of doing a black and white, the opposite of what that negative thought is, reframing it into the exact opposite positive thought that yes, you can do it. It may be tricky, it may be difficult, but you will accomplish it. And finally, and most importantly, remember to be kind to yourself along the way. It really is a journey. The destination, as I'm learning, doesn't actually arrive because we are constantly working on personal growth and development. And that really is the beauty of being human, is there's always space for growth. I hope that you are ready to tackle those negative thoughts. You're ready to join me in rewriting them, reframing them, and believing in yourself, believing that you can and you will, and most importantly, loving yourself along the way. I hope you enjoyed this video. I hope you're inspired. You're ready to tackle at least one negative thought today, ideally more throughout the week, and I will catch all of you on the next one.